Welcome to another episode of What Are You Reading? What Are You Writing? I hope you've been enjoying this series. I have enjoyed making it so much. I've met so many cool people. I've been introduced to amazing books. I'd love to hear about some of the books that you have tried that our guests have recommended. I'm Karen E. Osborne, author of Getting It Right, and my upcoming murder mystery women's novel is called Tangled Lies, and it comes out on July 22nd. I am thrilled to introduce you to my next guest, a prolific and wonderful writer with a great fan base. Her name is Sharon Middleton. I'm I'm going to just tell you a little bit about her, and then she's going to tell you all about her. So Sharon has been writing a series called McCarran's Corner, and there are a number of books. How many books are in that series now, Sharon?
There's 5 that have been published and one more that comes out in October.
5 have been published. How awesome is that? You have to know that writing a novel is a big deal. She's got 5 published and another one coming out. It's a historical novel. It's a time travel. It has romance. It's called, the one that's coming out, it's called Path of the Guiding Light.
The
No?
Path came out in December. Path
Oh,
came
that
out in
came out in
December.
December. So what's coming out in October?
The McCarran's Destiny. I've changed the name on it. The McCarran's Destiny is coming out in
Oh
in
my
October.
goodness. So that's going to be number 6.
That'll be number 6.
Wow, this is awesome. This is wonderful. I want to hear all about it. But first, maybe you could start by telling us a little bit about what you're reading.
Oh, well, most recently, let me think. I think what I had told you I had read about was Eliza Hamilton. I've read a couple of things since then, but I really loved Eliza Hamilton. And I was surprised when I read the reviews. Some of the reviews were real snotty, but
Really?
I just loved it. It was truly from Eliza's viewpoint about her love affair, her love with Alexander Hamilton. It starts when she was a teenager and fell in love with him. Actually, when he first came to the Schuyler farm in New York, and then progressed through the period of time when they courted, when they married, and their early marriage, when things were going pretty good romantically, but money was tight. I think money was always tight where Alex was concerned because he was a big spender. Ultimately, when literally he got caught with his pants down having an affair, nearly broke her heart. She was pregnant with their last child. She went home to Schuyler farm. She finally came back to him because she loved her man, and they had a child who died in a duel 2 years before his father died, before Alex died.
Wow.
And it's just like she would beg him, don't get into any duels, don't get into any duels. But he grew up tough in Nevis, and he grew up tough in Nevis, and they had a different concept of honor then than people do today. Thank God we don't think we have to go out and try to kill people if they insult us or insult our honor today.
Yeah.
So
yes. And who's the author?
Oh gosh, now you had to ask me that. I don't have it in front of me now.
Sorry, that's all right then.
I can't remember, but it's called Eliza Hamilton, and it's a really wonderful book. Now, at the end of it, the author gave a little more history about Eliza after he had died, and after she really had a nervous breakdown when he died. And it really told a little bit more of a wonderful story about the woman who was bragging all about her husband and so little about herself. She was a woman who was very poor, was very destitute. She was in debt upside down when he died, and she paid off all her debts, which is astonishing for a woman in the early 1800s. She never married again, which was the easy way out for a widow, especially a pretty, fairly young widow at that time. She wrote about him and kept on with Congress until they made sure that all of the congressional records showed that he was one of the writers of the Federalist Papers.
She really loved him.
She really loved him, and then she really she wore. This makes me want to cry. She wore a note that he wrote her about, a little poem he wrote her about his love for her. And she still had it on the day he died. She wrapped it up and had it on it around her neck. It's like, oh my God, now that is love. That is the kind of love we all want to write about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you want to
Yeah.
share another book?
Um, then again, I can't think who wrote it. I read Murder in Venice. It's a series of these Posey Parker novels, little mysteries, and it was just a charming, enchanting little mystery. And I loved it. I'm going back and read all. It was number 6 of the series. I'm going back and read the rest of the series.
Murder
So,
in Venice. That,
Murder in Venice,
that sounds
and
cool.
and it was one that didn't have a real good rating for it either. When because I got in on one of the specials, and I couldn't put the silly book down. I just was enchanted with it. It was a good mystery, but the people were like, "What's not as good as I bet usually are?" And I thought, well, it's pretty good. If the others are better, I'm gonna go read them all.
That's right. Let me go back and read the ones that you
Yeah,
guys
let me
thought
go
were
back and read
good.
them all. It was a good standalone book. It would have been, you could pick up pretty easily who the people were that were in the story. It told you. It might have been interesting to have known more of her backstory with Al, the man she was supposed to marry, and that's all I'll say. It was a good little
It's a
story.
fun read. All
It
right.
was a fun
Thank you
read.
for that. And
Very different from Eliza Hamilton.
we are eclectic readers, though, aren't
I'm
we?
a I am.
I am
I
too.
first and foremost, I'm usually romance, and then with my romance is either historical, usually, or time travel. But then I like some contemporary romance writers too.
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
but then I like a
speaking of
good mystery. I like a good mystery. I've got friends that write horror. It's like I can't read real scary stuff.
well, speaking of romance and time travel and historical, tell us a little bit about the book that recently came out, and then you can tell us a little bit about the one that is coming out in October.
This is Path of the Guiding Light.
Look at that
This is a
gorgeous cover.
Thank you. The cover was done for me by a lady in Russia. I found her on Etsy.
It's beautiful.
I I kept trying to tell her that actually a Cherokee lady would probably have a little bit more bronzing to her complexion, and she was just kind of appalled that I wanted more color in her complexion. It's like, no, she says that the men would have more. No, no, I think I know what I'm talking about. But anyway, this was the cover. I think she's beautiful, and
She
this is
is.
this Bailey Smith. And Bailey Smith is named after a girl that I know. She is Cherokee, and she's been in college. She just graduated in December. She wants to be a lawyer. And she told me, I want you to make me one of the characters in one of your books. And when I quit laughing, I said, well, honey, you got to understand if you're just a lawyer and you're happy with your career, you don't work in time travel. Oh, I said, so you'll have to be a little bit older and have become jaded with your career to go back in time. Oh, okay. So Bailey's 39. She has become jaded. She's just become divorced. She got sick, as she puts it, of being a paper pusher in an organization, in a governmental agency, the Bureau of Indian Affairs, which is supposed to be helping Native Americans, not just pushing paper. And so she has learned from a friend that she has a destiny back in the 17 and 1800s, and her destiny is to be the guiding light. The guiding light was a character that she knows historically led the Cherokee from northern Georgia, which is northern Georgia today, it was part of Indian Territory then,
Mhm.
out to what is now Arkansas, and then onto Oklahoma. Um, and so Bailey decides, by gum, I'm going to time travel too. And she makes trail several times until it's the right time. And when it's the right time, in the month of the bony moon, which is February, and believe me, I thought of that last week when it was so cold, she finally manages to go through the hole in time and to go to the Cahutta village in the Cahutta wilderness, what is called today as Cahutta wilderness. So when she's there, she falls in love with the chief. Of course, you got to fall in love with the chief. And his name is Shadow Wolf. And Shadow Wolf's been in several of the books. He's about 50 now. He's a big, handsome man, starting to get gray at the edges a little bit, but he's still made of stone. He's a big, strong man. And they're falling in love. They are planning to get married, and there has been an Indian raid, and they'd captured a bunch of slaves in Indian raids because that's what they did. And when they had taken slaves in the Indian raid, one of the people that they took was Kirk O'Malley, who was in the earlier books as well. Kirk O'Malley had been married to a lady named Fancy Selk Hobbs O'Malley, who's now in the future Fancy Winslow. I had to stop think what her name becomes. And he's still hunting for Fancy because he knows, where is she? I can't find her. And the thing just did goofy there. So he's been in Indian territory where he's not supposed to be, and he's been warned not to come back. He gets captured by one tribe. When they have the war with that tribe, then the Kahata tribe take captives, and she claims him because she realizes who he is, and she figures they need to get him back out of Indian territory and let him know what's going on. Well, first, nobody wants to let him know what's going on, and finally she blurts it out one day. And of course, when you're unprepared and it's been warm, what are you going to do? You're going to go run down to that spot clad in the loincloth. That's the only thing you have on, of course. And you're going to go barreling through time. And when you land at this side, this ain't Kansas no more.
So now it sounds like I love that you bring characters back
and forth
into different ones in the time. Can one read a book of yours without reading the whole series, or it's really important to keep up?
I think it's easier if you've read the whole series, but no, I think you can read just the one book and enjoy it, because I see there's a pretty good number of reviews on Amazon, and I don't think they've read all of the books. At least they didn't review the two before it, but so they might have skipped those, because I described the two before those as the more difficult books. But
so now
I think I've explained who they are, and I've explained how Bailey came into this and new people, how Kirk has come into this. Kirk goes catapulting through time. The Indian tribe forces her to go after him to try to bring him back, because they think he's what they call the Sulkalu. The Sulkalu is the white demon devil.
So tell me,
you heard about those white-eyed devils, haven't you?
So Sharon, so tell our audience about the new one that's coming out. Does it pick up right after where Path left off, or is it further out? Tell us about a little bit about that one.
It'll pick up about 5 or 6 years later. In this book, in Path of the Guiding Light, it talks about Charles, who is Fancy's son. He was in the previous 2 books as well, The McCarran's Daughter and the Diary of the Reluctant Duchess. And this one's going to be called The McCarran's Destiny. And in this book, Charles, who is a duke, if he goes back in time, decides, I'm going back in time. He's fallen in love with a young lady. She's from Vietnam, or her family's from Vietnam. She was born here. They don't want her to marry him. He goes back brokenhearted that he thinks the family has kept them apart. She winds up there hours after he's left, and everybody's left there. Finally gets to his mother and dad's house the next day, just brokenhearted, like, where's my Charlie? And they finally help her get back in time. And so it's a trail of him going ultimately to Ireland and then to England, her going to Ireland, following him, and then on to England, and then what happens.
Wow. And isn't this the one that you told me that your fans helped you pick out the cover?
Oh, my fans always help me pick out the covers.
Isn't that cool?
I always give them ideas about what would it be, this, or this. Like this one, the Path of the Guiding Light, the alternative choice for a cover, I'm going to walk over here and pick up a painting, is a painting that I bought off of eBay, but a big whopping 99 cents. Oops, I lost you.
Yep. Yeah. I can't see you right now, but I'm here.
Just a second. There. Let's see if you're back now.
There you are.
Okay.
There you are.
There it is.
Yep. Lost you again.
Oh, darn phone. Well, let me go to Zoom again. What did I do? Zoom. This is not making. Where are you? I lost you. Yeah. Well, hang it all.
Well, you know what? This has been very, very interesting and fun. And they can still hear you. The audience can still hear you.
Okay.
So could you just tell us how they can find you? And maybe they want to be part of choosing, book covers. And so how can they find you?
The best ways to find me are on Facebook. It's Sharon K. Middleton, author, or on the Beyond Reading group on Facebook.
And, say that one again. Say the name.
Beyond, BEYOND reading group. The first book was going to be called Beyond until I found out another book was titled Beyond, and it was going to become a movie. So we changed the title to Beyond McCarran's Corner. So It's a
Excellent.
Beyond Reading group, and that's really the group where I post pictures of dresses. I post pictures of covers, and that's where they get the opportunity to do their picking.
That sounds so much fun. I'm going to become a fan. There you
Yeah.
are. We're so glad to have you back. So I want to thank all of you for listening and watching us. And I hope that you will visit Sharon's webpage, that you'll pick up some of her exciting books. I mean, how exciting is that? Romance, history, and time travel. I love time travel books. So we hope to
4 of the
see you
books will be on special the 24th to the 27th. So
of
2 of them will be free, and then 2 of them will be for lower than usual cost.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us, Sharon. You
Thank
stay
you so
safe.
much for having me. I really enjoyed it. I'm sorry I talked too much.
You don't.
And I'm sorry I'm stupid with Zoom.
No worries. Thank you so much. And thank all of you for listening.
Thank you. Bye.